Hello everyone, I'm Ella and this is Knit to Know Me, where I get to talk about knitting as much as I want to people like you who really get it. I've got heaps to show you today again. I've got 3 finished objects this time and some new and exciting projects in the making. I'm really pleased to be talking about that to you guys. But first I just wanted to thank you again for all your lovely comments. The last video you let me know where you guys are from and that was so cool. I just can't believe how many people are watching from around the world. It's just super mind-blowing to me and I love talking to you guys. I've had so much wonderful suggestions and little conversations and it's been really cool. So yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, for putting down your knitting long enough to like and subscribe also. That's been super amazing. I can't believe how much good support I've had from all of you so far. So thank you. Anyway, on to the knitting. What have I been up to for the last little while? Well, I had my grandchildren and my daughter come up and stay. So it feels like it's been ages since I recorded anything, which it has because it took ages to edit the last 2 videos. So they went up later than I anticipated. And this one is again later than I anticipated just because it took me a while to recover from the school holidays, which is now 2 weeks ago. I can't believe they've been gone for 2 weeks. I miss them so much. But I taught my grandson how to knit while he was here and he's just 6 years old. 6.5. And oh, so cute. He just loved it. He just took to it like a duck to water. I have tried with him before, but he was just a little bit young. And this time he just was into it. So I can't wait to see him in the next school holidays because I'll get him on a proper project and get him started on his way. So yeah, he seemed to like it. So yeah, watch the space. He might become a knitter. Let's hope so anyway. But yeah, it was really cool because I know that my grandmother taught me how to crochet. Mum taught me how to knit. And I just think that's a very cool memory for him to have, that his gran taught him how to knit. And I get to say that now. I don't know whether that makes me feel excited or just old because now I'm the gran that gets to say they taught their grandson how to knit. But anyway, that was my excitement. Now I'm going to put a little clip of him knitting. It's very short. So are you ready? Get ready because it's only a tiny little clip. Here we go. There it is.
Pull over.
Yeah.
Stab, wrap, pull it over. Stab, wrap, pull it over. Stab, pull, wrap, pull it over.
So let me tell you about what I'm wearing. This is the Mizzle and Mist Cardigan by Tania Barley. It's her latest pattern release. It should be out by the time I get this video up for you. It's sort of loosely based on the same sort of construction as her spring tide cardigan, I think. And it's like that boxy, oversized, sort of beautiful, relaxed vibe cardigan. And it's super easy to knit because there's no purling, even though it's knit backwards and forwards. I mean, that's most cardigans, isn't it? Unless you steek it. So backwards and forwards, but no purling because she uses garter stitch and the cartridge rib. But in saying that, there is purling in, if you do the sleeves in the round, you have to purl in the sleeves, okay? So just fair warning there. I don't really much like purling just because I get rowing out a bit, but with garter stitch you couldn't tell, so yeah, it's all right. I absolutely love this cardigan. I've been wearing it for 5 days now because I'm still in that excited mode of just finished a garment, have to wear it all the time until I'm totally sick of it. I think I've taken this off once in 5 days. Obviously, I take it off to go to bed, but I mean, I've worn it every single day for 5, 6 days now, and I've worn it everywhere. It's been great because I've been able to dress it up, and when I say dress it up, I just mean put on jeans and leave the house type deal. But yeah, it's a slop around the house kind of cardigan too, and I've been walking the dog with my tracksuit pants on and my running shoes on and just wearing it as an overlayer, and it's just beautiful. So yeah, I you start off with the I cord at the back, and then you knit down the triangle sort of wedge and garter stitch, then you get to the cartridge rib, and then you pick up again and knit over the shoulder and sort of, I think it was sort of straight, yeah, it is straight shaping, and then yeah, then once you get them both sides down to the level that you need to, you join them, and then you're knitting backwards and forwards with the I cord on the side, and then you pick up from that I cord. Oh, you do a garter sort of border too, on or where your ribbing would be. You're doing a garter with an I cord edge, and then you pick up along that edge I cord and do your button band, which aren't button bands really because there's no buttons, as you can see. And I think it's absolutely beautiful because I'm excited about the pattern, but also about the yarn, because the yarn is local New Zealand yarn. It's Palliser Ridge, 100% lamb's wool, Romney lamb's wool, and it's advertised as a DK lamb's wool, but the pattern is a sport weight pattern, but the yarn actually matched perfectly. It's 260 meters per 100 grams, so that's more like a sport weight rather than a DK in the technical sort of specs of the pattern. And yeah, it matched exactly, and I think it would knit up to a DK gauge too, but don't quote me on that because I haven't really swatched for that. But this was matched the gauge perfectly. I knit it on a 3mm needle for the most part, and for the garter I went down. So 3mm because I'm quite a loose knitter. Could be a 3.5mm if you're not a loose knitter. And then for the garter stitch, most people could probably knit it in the same needle, but I went down because I'm looser in the gauge for garter. So I went down to a 2.75 for the garter, and I actually wish that I had either paid more attention to my tension or gone down even further on that bottom because it's sort of a little bit loose. And I'm only pointing this out to you because I want other beginners like me to realize that you don't have to get everything 100% perfect for it to be a super wearable and perfect garment for you. You don't have to be like an expert or anything. You can follow a pattern and get there as a beginner. I mean, probably I've moved up past a little bit past beginner. I keep getting told, no, you're not a beginner because you've knit this and you've knit that. But I feel like I'm still a beginner because I'm still following a pattern and having to look up tutorials. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just following the pattern. And sometimes I'm getting the pattern wrong. I'm still getting the pattern wrong because my brain sort of sees pattern instructions completely wrong. Like, I don't know how. I mean, sometimes I look at a pattern and it says something and then I'll do it, and then I'll realize, no, I got that completely wrong, and I have to read it and read it and read it. But with perseverance, I get it right. Anyway, my point for saying that is not to belittle myself or point out my mistakes or anything. It's to encourage other beginners to say, you can follow a pattern. You really can. You can get help from knitting shops. You can get help from other knitters. You can go to Creative Fibre and take your problems along, and they'll help you. You can ask me questions. I'm not. No, don't ask me questions. I'm not. You could ask me questions about this pattern. And I could give you my take on it. But yeah, you can definitely knit anything you set your mind to. I know it. I just know it. Anyway, so back to the wool. One thing I'd like to point out is where I've blocked it. I just blocked it flat. I don't have blocking mats or anything. I've just blocked it flat. And can you see how the memory of the natural wool has left a line there? Now, when I block this again, I will use like pool noodles, or rolled up bubble wrap to put in the sleeves so that I can make the sleeves a bit more round. It doesn't really matter, but there's also another crease on the shoulders. There are creases in it where I've blocked it. And that's amazing because that's showing you that wool holds its memory so well that it just stays in shape. And I love that. So yeah, I'm going to be getting more. Now, I've told you about the needles, told you about the pattern, but I'll tell you about how much yarn I use next. I've discovered that I'm not very sensitive to real rustic wool, which is great because that is what I prefer. I prefer something that feels natural and is as natural as possible. This is a dyed yarn. It's called Natural Black on the Palliser Ridge website, which I will link down below. The picture actually looks very beige, so that is a bit funny, but the colour is called Natural Black, and it's kind of like a charcoal sort of dark grey colour. And look how much I've got left of this cone. I've knit it straight from the cone. There was no ends to weave in because, well, I mean, there was ends to weave in from where the joins were, but there was no ends to weave in from all different balls because I knit it straight from the cone. And there's no big, huge knots. There's no big, huge, funny joins that you get from other yarns I've used. So that was really cool. The cardigan took 446 grams, and the cone is a kilo, give or take. And so that means I've got over 500 grams because I used a bit for swatching. So I've got about 500 grams to use on another project, which is super cool. Definitely will get this yarn again. I'm going to be swatching up for cables in it and see how that works out for me, and also see if I can get a DK gauge. That'd be great to know before I go planning any more big knits. My husband's got his eye on it too because he's now keen for a jumper. That's pretty exciting, but also pretty daunting because he's probably an XXL. So yeah, that could take a while to finish a jumper for him. Maybe I'll start off with a vest first. I think that might be a good idea. Anyway, I think I've said as much as I need to for that. Link will be down below, like I said, and love it. Oh, I probably should explain the cartridge rib. I'm sure you can look up cartridge rib, but basically it's all garter stitch and then you do a slip stitch. And so it looks like you have purled, but you haven't. So it's all garter stitch with a slip stitch in the middle of each repeat, if that makes sense. Yeah, so super happy with it. Beautiful. And can I do the smarty pants dance? I think I can, but there is room for improvement. One thing I could have done better is the bicord at the start. I would have liked that to be more pronounced. All my other I-cords on the pattern have come out perfectly. But that one I probably knitted a bit too tight, and I could have either gone up a needle or used gone up a needle. Yeah, because it's a bit confusing because I knit English style still sometimes, and that's tighter for me. And when I knit continental, it's looser. And man, there's a lot of stitches to pick up of that I-cord. So once I realised my mistake, I didn't want to rip it back. So I didn't. Yeah, so I could have done that better, and I also could have had a little bit less gauge, a tighter gauge in the bottom band. But yeah, I still think I can do the smarty pants dance. I'm still very, very happy with it, and it's going to be a favorite for sure. And I would absolutely knit that pattern again. I would love to knit it in Vintage Pearls, Tannehill. You can buy her yarn undyed on the cone too. And yeah, I've got my eyes on some of that for the next one. And I was also thinking, because I'm after a natural sort of dressing gown to pop on in the morning when I get out of bed on a frosty morning to sit with my coffee. And I thought it would make a great sort of dressing gown if you just sort of knit it a bit longer. Yeah, so absolutely love the pattern. So the next finished item is, look, I have already finished and completed it since my last video. So what happened was I blocked the body of the cardigan before I knit the sleeves because I was a bit worried about the size I'd knit. So I thought, well, I better block it before I do the sleeves because I think I'll have to do longer sleeves, yada. So while I was blocking it, I decided to cast on this, and I knit it in 2 evenings just in time for this to dry because it took a while to dry because it's winter here. Yeah, so this is Alanna's Firebird Scarf. She is Black Cat Knit Company. I will obviously have the link down below for you, but I think this is going to be my new favourite scarf pattern because you can knit it with any weight yarn, a bit like Sophie scarf, and you can adjust the pattern depending on how much yarn you've got too. So watch the space because I'm going to knit a 4-ply one next. This is a DK weight non-superwash merino from Roxy Fibres in the colour Morning Coffee, which is perfect for me because I love coffee. And let me put it on. Reason why I have never worn scarves much in my life is because I can't stand them falling off. But with this style, like the Sophie scarf and this, you can wrap it around front ways and then tie it. Doesn't come off. Love it. And now that I have got 3 scarves and 2 cowls, 2 scarves, 2 cowls, I think, but 1 scarf bought, and you can stop it coming off. I've got scarves on all the time. I just didn't realise how comfortable it was to have a nice warm neck. When your neck and the top of your shoulders are cold, you tense up and then you get a sore neck and then you get a sore back and it's no good. So I really encourage you, if you're not into wearing scarves, just to try it out. Try it out. Wear a scarf for a week and see how you go because I know that you're going to love it. It's so comfy. And this is super soft merino and I've worn this a lot. No pilling so far. Very lovely and soft. Love it. Check out Roxy Fibres website for that colourway if you love it too. Let me just put it up to the camera for you so you can see it better. And I will put some pictures up. Yeah, so this one here, the pattern starts off at one end and you're knitting on the bias. So the ridges of the garter stitch are diagonal, I guess. And then you keep going until you get to the widest point, which is slightly off center. So you've got one longer side and one shorter side. And then you decrease. So instead of going to 50% of the weight of yarn that you've got, you go to 60%. And I love it. I think it's just amazing. I love this pattern. So check that one out too. It's going to be a favourite of yours too if you try it. Now the next finished item I've got is Andrea Mowry's Traveller Cowl. Here it is. Beautiful. And super happy because not only is this New Zealand yarn, it's Possum Merino yarn. And guess what? It's out of somebody else's deep, dark stash. My mother-in-law gave me 3 balls of this wool. Unfortunately, they're discontinued now because it's beautiful yarn. But when I looked up the prices of it, it's very expensive yarn. And I can see why, because it's beautiful. It's very soft. So let me get my little book of notes out on the yarn. Just tell you the composition just in case you're interested, even though it's discontinued. If you get something similar, which is of course you can if you're in New Zealand, a lot of our websites do ship overseas, so just look up Possum Merino yarn. Where is it? Oh, here it is. So it's the Furlana, and you can still get this on eBay and stuff. I've looked up, there's several people that still stock it or have it secondhand. But my mother-in-law has had this in her cupboard for years and years. And it's the shade 10, which is sort of like a beige sort of colour. And it is 80% merino, 20% possum fur. And possum fur has got hollow fibres, so it's light but very, very warm. And it's a good industry in New Zealand because possums are pests in New Zealand. So yeah, unfortunately they do kill the poor little possums to get the fur, but it's sort of a byproduct of the pest eradication process in New Zealand. Yeah, so that's the yarn. And the pattern is, of course, quite well known. You've probably heard of this before, no doubt you have, but it's Andrea Mowry's Traveller's Cowl. So it's got a nice long sort of handkerchief front, which is great if you've got a jacket. Now I'll just pop it on, even though I've got some good photos to show you. Just pop it on. So you've got this nice handkerchief section sort of thing, and so you can tuck it under your jacket and there's no gaps. So that's great. And you can put this however high you want. You can even put it over your head if you really want. This one you can. Yeah. So cover up your ears for a moment if you've got a lot of wind. If you haven't got a ponytail, you could probably put it right over your little head. Be lovely. Yeah, so I've been wearing this quite a bit too since I finished it, and to be honest, I had finished it for quite a couple of weeks before I sewed up the back, because you've got to sew up the back, and that's the bit I really put off. But she's got a great video, so that was absolutely easy. It's got a perfect video for you to follow, and I almost got it lining up. Not quite, but I almost got it lining up. Yeah, so I'm very happy with this. very warm, great design, great style. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of cowls around in this sort of construction, I want to say shape. But because you know, you can tuck it into the front of your jacket, I just think it's a perfect idea and fabulous for me because I cannot stand dangling scarf ends and then they always fall off or blow away in the wind. This doesn't fall off, so super great pattern, if you ask me. Now, I could, if I wanted to, over dye this because I'm starting to get into the category of wearing a lot of beige and brown because I'm going through all these natural fibers and stuff. So what I'm attracted to is a lot of brown at the moment. But yeah, I don't know. I'll leave it alone at the moment. And I knit this. Can't remember the needle. Sorry. No, I can. It was a 4mm needle. And I knit it English style, my English style, anyway, my version of English style, which is stick the needle in and wrap the needle around. And so that gives me a lovely evenness to my work, and it is a tighter gauge than I would knit if I was continental. And I'm getting better at the continental, getting it all even, but for a while, you know, as I'm getting more and more practice, I'm working it out. But for a while, my continental knitting wasn't quite even. So it'll be loose, then it'll be tight, then it'll be loose. So for this one, I wanted it all the same. So I knit that English style. But now I think I could probably do it continental. Anyway, that's the natural progression, which I'm sure you're riveted by. Yeah, so that's all my finished objects. Let's get on to the WIPs. Okay, so the only WIP I'm going to really share with you today is my Calypso Worsted Jumper Sweater. Calypso Worsted Sweater, I think it's called. And it's absolutely beautiful. I think it's working out really well so far. I haven't blocked it or anything yet, but I'm thinking it looks like it's going to be fine. My tension seems to be good. I know I said I wasn't going to be doing a colour work anytime soon. I needed to get some more sweaters under my belt before I attempted that. But I was just so taken with Dinny and her yarn. When I first met her, she had sort of done yarn kits, or she'd taken notes on how much yarn you needed for the Calypso worsted. And the Calypso range from Alanna from Black Cat Knits is one that I'd had my eye on for quite a while. So it was no surprise that I said, yes, let's do it, and got the yarn right there and then on the spot because I knew exactly what it was. It was almost like getting a yarn kit, and I just went for it. Yeah, so I know I said I wasn't going to knit a Colourwork sweater for a while, but I decided to just jump right in. Hey, what's the worst that can happen? You just need to undo it, frog it, rip it back. Doesn't matter. You're going to just learn from it and move on, and you eventually get there. So I think it's going well so far. But my point was, why not knit something that you're actually excited about rather than something boring? So this is exciting to me, and I've just knitted it. Probably that's only 3 evenings worth, so I'm pretty happy about that. I may have got a bit excitement, and there might be a little bit of tension issues, so I probably, before I carry on, need to do a mid-project block. You can block your work before you get any further. just to check everything's going all right, takes the anxiety out of it, and then you can carry on your little merry way. So that is very good. And I'll just tell you quickly about the yarn in case you didn't watch my last episode, because Dinny has bought a mini commercial wool quite a few years ago now, and she spent many years perfecting her art of spinning. That's the label of the yarn, and this one is called Painted Skeins, and as you can tell, this one actually looks like it's got a lot more grey in it than my other skein, but it's just beautiful gradient wool, and colour changing, and the colour changes aren't quite as long as Spincycle, but it's got that Spincycle look and feel, and I love it. And she had paired this together with her other yarn, and she showed me this, and she had a sample knit in this exact colour, which is what sold me on it. And then she had the yarn kits, or actually she hadn't got the yarn kits, she'd got the pattern and she'd worked out exactly how much yarn you needed in each size. So I knew exactly that I needed 350 grams of the main colour and just one skein of this, or just over one skein if you wanted to do the corrugated rib on the sleeves. So I decided to just get the 350 and 2 skeins of that, because I'm sure I can make use of that with the leftovers. Yeah, so this one here is painted skeins, and it's 100% Corriedale worsted 8-ply, but it knits up like a worsted or a DK. And then this one is actually a blend, and it's very soft, so it's turning out lovely. It's Corriedale and Merino blended with 30% alpaca. And that's also sort of a DK weight, but because it's got this lovely soft bounciness of her how she spins it in her mill, it's really nice and bouncy. So it's turning out on gauge to the pattern, and it feels lovely, squishy, and warm. And I wouldn't say it's like the best for a beginner to use, because I had it in mind that my next colourwork pattern would be in Vintage Pearls Tanner Hill, because that's a woolen spun wool with really good stitch definition. But this lovely yarn is more like you're knitting with hand spun wool. In fact, you can still see little flecks of debris and stuff from the sheet, and it's variegated. Well, not variegated, but it's got that natural sort of variation in the wool, and it's lovely, and I love it. So yeah, watch the space, watch this grow. Be prepared though, because I could be frogging it up and down. Who knows? Let's see what happens after the mid-project block. Yeah, so I'll let you know how it's going each time, because I'm sure I'm going to be knitting on that consistently until it is done. Let's put that back in there. Okay, so I don't think there's much to update you on my other WIPs. My habitation throw has actually not seen any growth whatsoever. I think I've taken it to Creative Fibre meeting once or twice, but only got a few rows done on it. So yeah, nah, nothing to show there. And my little bunny deal, still just a head and one ear. Haven't done anything since. Because I've had 2 weeks of grandchildren and then the test knit to finish, and sorry, nothing to update you on there. But I do have some more plans, and I'm not really one for having a huge stash of yarn. Got a bit of yarn over there, but it's not really much. I've got a little bit of cotton for my amigurumi, and I've got little bits and pieces of baby yarn. I don't have a huge stash, so, and I don't really think I want to get into stashing yarn. I just want to get into just buying the wool that I need for the garment I'm knitting at the time. So I don't think this is my episodes are going to have a huge amount of yarn shopping and acquisitions, I'm afraid. I'm not going to do that. But I am this time just going to quickly show you what I got at Fibretron, because, yeah, my husband watched my last video, and when he heard that I wasn't going to be buying yarn at Fibretron, he just said straight out, "Oh, you liar." And yeah, he was right. I did get some. But I have a good excuse, and let me get what I got. Yeah, have a good excuse, because first of all, I was very excited to see Joy of Yarn there, and they sell Jamiesons of Shetland. And of course, watching as much YouTube as I do and being a beginner knitter, I have seen a lot, and loving Colourwork, I've seen a lot of garments knitted online and on Ravelry using traditional Shetland yarn. And I always thought it was going to be really, really scratchy and itchy and horrible. But I don't know whether I'm just getting used to itchy, scratchy yarn. I don't know. But this is not actually that scratchy. And when I felt it, I thought, oh my gosh, imagine that's going to soften right up after washing, and it's going to be great. And the lovely man, is it James? Can't remember his name now, but he said it softens up beautifully. So I got the minimum I need for a little scarf, just to test that out. And this colour is called Ruby, and I think it's beautiful. It's heathered, and yeah, not New Zealand yarn, which is my ultimate goal, to stick to that New Zealand yarn as much as possible. But I think that is too beautiful to pass up. So I got the minimum quantity I thought I might need for a Sophie scarf. The balls weigh 25 grams, but they're 105 meters per 25 grams. So I think that'll be perfect, because one day I want to use real Shetland yarn for a Shetland pattern. Anyway, so that's that. So not bad, only 3. Oh yeah, there's a little ball of yarn I've got left from my one skein Firebird scarf that I showed you earlier. That's just all I've got left. And I bought some buttons, beautiful ceramic buttons. They're gorgeous. And I bought them because I thought at the time I hadn't quite finished the cardigan, the Mizzle and Mist. I thought maybe I might want to add some afterthought buttons later. And then, of course, I saw these. Had to get those too. These are gorgeous ceramic buttons, and they're handmade in Mayfield, New Zealand. And I haven't even knit any cardigans yet to put these on, but I know that there's enough, so there's 10 of those, and I'm super excited to put them on a cardigan sometime in my future. I got a shawl pin too, just for another option for this cardigan, in case I wanted it. And I just got it out before and looked at it, and it's very easy to pop on. So let me show you. Just pop it in, clip it on, and it's a shawl pin come button for the Mizzle and Mist cardigan. Oh, I love it. It's a like a ginkgo leaf, and ginkgos are one of my absolute favourite trees. And that is, I didn't take a card, unfortunately, and I don't know. Oh, is that it? No. I didn't take a card, but it is a higher shawl pin if you're looking for one similar. And the other thing I have to admit, guys, I did get some more Spincycle. Couldn't resist it. I thought I wanted to just go over and check out Miss Rumphius in Alanna's lupine wool stand, and I thought I was just going to have a look. And then I spotted this colour, and the girl was talking about this exact weight yarn changing. So this is Dream State. So that's the DK weight, and is it worsted weight, 150 yards to 50 grams. I was looking at Miss Rumphius colorway, and then I realized it's actually got, Miss Rumphius colorway has actually got too much yellow in it for me, and I think this is perfect. It is called Dirty Little Secret, and Alanna's kindly gifted me the pattern to go with this yarn. It's called Miss Rumphius. It's a lovely little hat pattern, and you only need one skein of this weight yarn. So I thought that wasn't too bad. She's gifted me the pattern, made it a little bit more economical for me. So yeah, watch the space. I'm going to knit that up, and I can't wait to see that finished. So yeah, I think that's all I've got for you today, guys. If you got to the end of this video, please like and subscribe. I'd love it if you did that. It would just make my day. And I'll see you next time. Bye.